What's up, everybody? How we doing today? This is Ray Condor coming to you once again. So if you want, you can call me Ray Condor. I spent the last weekend speaking with a friend of mine who's Dominican. I took him out to a Colombian restaurant. We discussed about the channel, and for some reason Passport Bros don't seem to understand what I'm talking about. I'm in the middle of the editing process, and I just want to let everybody know before we continue that I lost the receiver, the end that plugs into my phone for my microphone. So please forgive me, please bear with me if the sound isn't right. I will be working on that soon. I don't understand. My Colombian friends are getting it. Colombians from Colombia are actually getting it. They're supporting me. Colombians from the United States are supporting me. I get support from people from Mexico, people from Puerto Rico, people from Canada, even Black American women. For some reason, the Passport Bros are not getting it. I have made different videos talking about certain subjects, and the first thing that they do, they blame me for racism.
Now, Colombia is one of my favorite countries, and I rarely say a bad thing about it. But let me tell you, that Passport Bro situation is so heinous that when I was in Medellin, I was afraid to stand too long on the street corner. I warn y'all about dating in Colombia. You will get got. But then honestly, a lot of y'all go there to take advantage of these Colombian women. So if you get got,
It was my first time in Cartagena, and my God in heaven.
Okay, yeah, even though I have Black Colombians in my family, but here's the deal. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create a playlist, a series of videos. Every once in a while, I will be responding directly to them because I made a general response. Nobody seemed to understand. They were blaming things for coming up with different objects or subjects that I never talked about. Okay, so once again, thank you very much, and please follow along. So this current video was basically to one of my last videos, which was a reply to another video of mine, which a Colombian woman was upset that Passport Bros are traveling to Colombia, calling them basically sex tourists. And she basically stated these are people who travel to Colombia to take advantage of women, and not only are they taking advantage, but they're misbehaving in ways that Colombian society does not find acceptable. And I have talked to many Colombians about it. I actually was in the gym not too long ago. I spoke with a Colombian American associate or an acquaintance who works out with me, and the first thing that he mentions, which was everybody's mentioning, is that these guys are flying down to South America, to third world countries or developing countries where they have more economic power, and they take advantage of these women, because the truth is that women would not be with them if they had the same economic power, if they had the same equal rights. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. Nino5318 says, I agree with what you say, but I find it unfair that the blame is only placed on the so-called Passport Bros. It is not the tourists who created the phenomenon of prostitution in Colombia. Except I'm not talking about that. That's not the subject of my past videos. I'm not talking about that. Let's go on and see what else he's going to say. It is the Colombian people. Yes, and I did say in my last video that it's a protected type of work by the Constitution of Colombia, and I also stated that it was the feminists and the liberal party who put that in place because we're in a civil war. You have the conservatives versus the liberals. You understand that, right? And it's the people in liberal parties who fall more towards communism because we have the longest civil war on this side of the planet, who are still fighting the communists from the 70s and the 60s and the 80s, okay? And certain people have managed to put that into place. That is a protected form of work by the Constitution of Colombia. I respect it, the Colombian people respect it. What is the problem? If it bothers you all so much, listen, I want to tell you, and I'm going to tell all you passport and goofies and PP boys for the last and final time, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. We don't care about prostitution. We do not care. That's not the subject. We do not care. What part of I do not care do you not understand? I'm not sure if you guys are having a serious problem in understanding, or you're trying to troll me. I'm going to tell you in Colombian, me importa un pepino. I can give a cucumber. Me importa un pan caliente. I could give a piece of hot bread. Me importa ocho cuartos. I could give 8/4. Okay? If you understand that joke. I don't care. We don't care. You know what? I went and spoke to two Black American women who are digital creators. And, Tanya TKO, whom I follow, and another one called Siren Muse, who's very much a feminist and a strong Black woman on TikTok. And you know what she told me? She told me that you guys don't like to take responsibility for your actions, because you start throwing stuff at me like, oh, this is about racism, about race and everything else. You're basically putting the blame on everything else except on yourselves. So I'm responding to you because I'm doing this as a I'm going to make like a couple of videos responding directly to people, create a playlist. Because if I talk in general, you see guys don't seem to understand, or maybe you're trying to do that on purpose to harass me. Because literally, I don't understand your logic. Like literally, you're breaking my mind.
If it bothers you all so much, your government would put measures in place to counter this phenomenon.
Que el turismo extranjero que llega a Colombia debe cambiar su estructura. Aquí no estamos ofreciendo las mujeres para nada y yo me voy a encargar de dificultar ese tipo de turismo. Aquí nación, espacio estatal, político que crea que esta es una tierra para venir a orar la dignidad de la mujer o de los niños, va a tener dificultades para entrar. Nuestra mujer no está en venta, ni nuestros niños. Aquí se recibe con hospitalidad y si aparece el amor nadie lo prohíbe, pero es el amor libre y no condicionado. La policía está encargada de perseguir a fondo cualquier tipo de turismo depredador. Y esto quiero que quede con mucha claridad.
Yes, the president of Colombia, Gustavo Petro, literally stated in front of an international audience that it will make it harder for people who are traveling to our country and who abuse our women in these type of practices, in this type of work.
They will put measures in place to protect these women.
Yes, there's actually talks right now. I stated it in my video. There are people in the government who are fighting that, to find marching, who are making all sorts of speaking to lawyers and speaking to the Congress, speaking to the Senate, trying to pass these laws to make it better. I told you that people are actually literally marching the streets. What part of that have you not heard? Let me give you an example of women fighting for better protection for women from these abusers.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's finally starting to happen, and I told Passport Brothers many times, Colombians, the locals are starting to get angry.
Este trapo que ustedes ven ahí, Fico persiguen feministas y encubre pedófilos, casi que nos es arrebatado por la Subsecretaría de Espacio Público y la policía. Pero cuando llegamos a las discotecas y a los bares, en donde era evidente que había mujeres, jóvenes, menores de edad, se hacían los de la vista gorda. Y en cambio salían puteros extranjeros de esos lugares y hasta trataban mal a la fuerza pública, la maltrataban. Vaya que uno haga eso como colombiano. ¿Qué es lo que está pasando? ¿Cuál es la jurisprudencia de este parque? ¿Quién es que está dominando aquí a Medellín para que a fin de cuentas quieran hacer con él lo que querían hacer con Cuba hace tantos años? Es decir, convertirlo en el prostíbulo de los gringos, en el burdel. Medellín no es un burdel. Las mujeres y los movimientos feministas están protestando, se están uniendo y se están organizando para decir, esto no lo vamos a permitir más.
I heard you saying that boyfriends or husbands send their girlfriends selling their bodies for money. Are you all proud of that?
First of all, that's not a common standard practice. I said it's infamously known amongst Venezuelans, but not amongst Colombians. And second of all, I was using that as an example to poke fun of you, passport bros, who are a bunch of goofies, because many of us understand that the people who are going to Colombia looking for a so-called traditional woman are actually looking for prostitutes, and they will actually maintain them. And some of them will have boyfriends. Are we proud of that? No, because I literally told you in one of my videos, and I think it was 2 videos ago, that said just because it is legally acceptable, it is not morally acceptable. And I gave you examples about how people in the locals were getting angry at you guys bringing all these women twerking around little kids and stuff like that, and how there's churches nearby. And I'm telling you right now, people are starting to get angry.
So we never hear you talk about the women who drug and kill tourists.
Actually, I have made it in one of my first videos passing by as a side conversation, as a background conversation. Yes, and believe it or not, I'm actually working in a video right now. The problem is that I lost my receiver to my little to my little microphone. But trust me, I'm going to talk about that. In fact, I'm actually going to talk about that, and I'm going to show you the commentary, what the local people are saying, what the local Colombians are saying, not what I'm saying, because for some reason people think that I'm a lone wolf, right? That supposedly it's only me, and that I'm being racist, right?
Many of you find that normal and put the blame on these men, and that's not normal. Nobody should be drugged or killed in no matter what.
23-year-old Rachel Warner in bond court Thursday after being arrested by City of Miami police for allegedly drugging, then robbing a man of his $18,000 Rolex.
Man, I don't know why motherfuckers fall for the banana in the tailpipe every motherfucking day when the shit written on the wall, man. Every little pretty motherfucker you see on the street ain't going back to your room hoping that you can give them a couple of dollars. Some of them motherfuckers on some robbery type shit like.
It was a night out that took a turn. Investigators alleging this 26-year-old swiped thousands from the victim as he showed signs of possibly being drugged.
We don't find it normal. Our mentality is, what were you thinking? We telling you, don't put your hand in the stove. Don't touch the stove, and you put the hand stove like a little kid and you get burnt. What were you thinking? That's your fault. Okay? Nobody should deserve to be robbed. Nobody deserves to be anything. I understand that. And you talk about justice. Yes, Colombian cops have found justice for the foreigners who were robbed and who were mistreated. But guess what? Don't put yourself in a situation. I don't go down to Miami. I don't go to Overtown, which is one of the most dangerous parts there. Look at 12 o'clock at night, walking around in the middle of the night with my gold chain out, with my cell phone out. Because if I get robbed over there, and if I get robbed over there, or even worse, people are going to say, well, what did you expect? You should not have been there at that time. Okay? You can go to any city. Every city has its good parts and its bad parts. Don't go to the bad parts. That's it. Don't put yourself in a position. No dar papaya. Don't make yourself a target. Are you like a little kid? I don't understand.
A lot of the time, people want to genuinely make friends, make connections, and a lot of time, nice people take advantage.
Plenty of people have gone down to Colombia for years, for a decade, because I live in South Florida, okay? And in South Florida, we have a huge Hispanic population. And I know people who are Jamaican and Haitian, Italian, Israelis. I know people who have gone down to Colombia for years and nothing ever happens to them. How come it happens to these passport bros? Listen, one of my ex-co-workers' daughters, who was 18, she went down to Colombia by herself. She went to Cartagena by herself, okay? She was then down for a whole week. Absolutely nothing happened, and everything was a-okay. My co-workers, right, who work in the healthcare field, five black women, Caribbean black women, I should say. They went all the way down to Colombia, absolutely loved it. And I told them, I said, when you get down there, I have friends in the restaurant sector. I have friends who are in the tourism sector. If you need help, give me a call. Call them. They'll tell you where to go. They were sending pictures. They were getting drunk and everything else. Nothing happened. You want to know why? Because they're not looking for prostitutes. They're not going into the lowest class neighborhoods trying to look for drugs like you PP boys are doing. Okay? So don't tell me it's our fault. It's your fault for going to the worst neighborhoods in the middle of the night looking for kitty cat. And then when you wake up the next day, you say, well, it's your fault. You should not have put yourself in that position. We keep on telling you, don't go there.
But we never heard Colombians speaking about that.
Actually, I hear all the time, both in the Spanish-speaking and the English-speaking world. I have heard many Colombians talking about that. On TikTok, on Instagram, and everything else. Literally every day, I have a cousin, a friend of mine, sending me a video about that, talking about that. So I don't know what you're telling me. This tells me that you're just some random person who's just coming across, who's never been there, is just trying to share your 2 points, your 2 cents about things that you do not know about. My niece is making fun of me right now because she's mimicking me.
Nice justice is supposed to be a two-way street.
Once again, there have been plenty of times where Colombians have found justice for foreigners, for people who are robbed and everything else, because we have something called the community massage. If anybody is caught robbing people, especially a foreigner, you will have literally the entire block get on top of you. because they do not want to show that part of Colombia. We want to make people feel welcome. We want tourists to understand that this is a place you can go to. But you need to understand, just like any country, you need to know where to go and where not to go, right? I don't go down to Mississippi because they tell me there's certain nationalists that are there, and me as a Hispanic with a certain accent that I have, supposedly with a certain name that I have, then I'm not going to be wanted. So guess what? I'm not going to go there. I'm not. Why am I going to go there? Oh, you're just trying to keep me away from the women. You're just trying to get it. No. That doesn't work with me. You cannot sit here. You cannot threaten us to force to give our women over to you.
The people do not try to visit other cities in Colombia. It is because the infrastructure to accommodate these people are not in place.
You're lying. Quit your lying, because I follow digital content creators, both white and black. People who are actually world travelers and people who actually do the passport bro scene, and they have gone to the cities that I'm talking about. Maybe you think this is the 1980s and 1970s where there's no infrastructure and everything else. Believe it or not, when my father was young and back in the 70s, you had to go from the city of Cali to even get to Cartagena. It would take you about 24 to 48 hours. And because of the Chinese have come in and built a lot of roads and a lot of infrastructure in South America, you can actually take a straight line right there. Build bridges, build roads, tunnels through the mountains. So quit lying. Even Razor Race, who's a person that covers all these passport bro shenanigans, Travel Time with Paul and all those cohorts, I have seen plenty of them who have actually taken trips down to Tumaco, which is actually more dangerous to Buenaventura. They actually have taken trips to Buenaventura. They're taking trips to Chocó, the region where you have a lot of Afro-Colombians and a lot of indigenous peoples, and they were going around like nothing. And I follow people who actually are world travelers, not people who are looking for prostitutes and stuff like that. People who are world travelers, and you know where they have gone? They have gone to Manizales, they have gone to Tuluá, they have gone to Buga, they have gone to all these cities that I'm talking about, even in the Amazon, okay? And they're showing hotels, they're showing hostels, they're showing beautiful places you can go to, all right? So no, don't give me that. That's a cop-out and that's a lie. And that is, frankly, and your part is racist because you think that we're backwards or something. We're not a bunch of bush people walking around with like a leaf over us. And even my friend, the Nativa, who's just native, she'll dress us like that, but she's not really like that, okay? She's a pharmacist, she has family, she lives in the city, she lives in the city of Mocoa. No. You are being disrespectful. That's discriminatory.
There's also the language barrier. A lot of times tourists are asked to visit cities like Cali, Turbo, Buenaventura, but also often told not to go to certain areas because it is dangerous and trusting people is hard.
My family's from Cali, okay? And I actually got a video coming up on West, that's the Chinese Filipino guy who traveled throughout the world, and he got married and then he got divorced with a woman from Manizales. He went to Cali and he went with other people who are known as travelers in the internet sphere, because I follow them too, and I caught them, even though he didn't mention them. What is it called? Baila Salsa Travel, and they're a Mexican couple that they dance and they eat and they travel throughout the world, okay? And then he showed Cali and the good parts and the bad parts. Don't give me that. Every city has the good parts and its bad parts. New York has a nice area, has a bad area. Miami has a good area, has a bad area. London has a good area and has a bad area. Don't give me that. In fact, I'm actually going to show you clips of people with all the different articles online, with all the different places online for people traveling. And I'm not even going to show you Cali. I'm actually going to show you other parts where people have gone to that has absolutely no problem at all.
Come with me to the Colombian town that inspired Disney's Encanto. Welcome to Salento, the real-life inspo behind Oscar award-winning Encanto. Known for its traditional architecture and beautiful mountain setting, this tiny heritage town is a hidden gem with colorful buildings and bustling streets. Salento is the gateway to the stunning Cocora Valley, home to hundreds of wax palms, the tallest palm trees in the world, reaching heights of up to 200 feet tall. This awe-inspiring landscape and popular hiking destination served as the inspiration for the lush, magical setting of the Madrigal's home in the movie. Whether you're a fan of Encanto or just a lover of all things whimsical, Salento and the Cocora Valley promise a bit of movie magic during your trip to Colombia. Follow for more travel tips.
I just had the most incredible opportunity going to the lost city in Colombia, Ciudad Perdida. It was a 4-day hike through the jungle, meeting tribes and learning about the Weewah culture. This hike pushed me in so many incredible ways, and I want to share my day-to-day experience with you. Follow along with me to the lost city. My hope is that it sparks a light in you to take the adventure to Ciudad Perdida.
Guys, if you are traveling Colombia, this is the most important piece of advice I could possibly give you, and that is go to Santander. It is honestly the most underrated destination in all of Colombia, and I think at least 50% of backpackers skip it. And I'm here to tell you why you absolutely cannot do that. Number one, San Gil is the adventure capital of Colombia. It has bungee jumping, paragliding, whitewater rafting, you name it, San Gil probably has it. Number two, it has one of the best hikes I've ever done in my entire life through Chicamocha Canyon. It takes 2 days. You can easily do it without a tour and just stop in little towns along the way. It is an incredible hike, one of the best things I did in all of Colombia. It's an absolute must do. Number three, the small towns here are so cute, and Barachara is one of them, and it's actually officially like the most beautiful town in all of Colombia, and I can see why. It's so cute. You should definitely spend a day or two there, and there's also loads of other small cute towns in the region as well. Number four, it is so budget friendly. It is so unbelievably cheap. One day I went out for breakfast, lunch and dinner. I went whitewater rafting and I spent less than £30 in that entire day, and that included my hostel. Number five, it's so safe, like especially the small towns. I could walk around at night. They're just so wholesome, so cute. Never heard of anyone having any safety issues. Trust me, do not miss this area of Colombia. Add it to your itinerary right now.
Again, I have seen world travelers travel through Colombia who don't speak a lick of English. I mean, lick of Spanish. And you know what they do? They bring the little Google Translate, or they bring a dictionary, or at least they bring a little tablet or something to translate for them. And even if they can't, even if they don't have that, some of them will actually try to learn the language.
Responsibility in this too. If you really wanted things to change, and people just coming for this especially, you would take action and change that. That is just my opinion. Stay blessed.
So why don't you give them better? They're your people.
Yes, we have made it better. I'm not sure if you know this, but Colombia has the longest civil war on this side of the planet. Yes, my friends, we have a civil war in Colombia. And with, in fact, the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia, who are Marxist guerrilla forces, actually signed a peace treaty, I believe back in 2016, with the Colombian government, where they gave up their arms in terms for peace. And not only this, but this peace made it so safe that passport brothers like you can come to Colombia. Clearly shows that he's uneducated on how Colombians think and feel, even though he's been there about 2 years. So once again, I have proven Passport Bros wrong. They asked me, what have you done to make your country better? And I have showed them in the video, as you can see, which is 1 month ago. Because of the peace process, people have been able to travel to Colombia. People have been able to even go see the prostitutes. This is how I know those guys are trolling. And it tells me that either they're trolling or they're seriously ignorant and not understanding world geopolitics. When you go to a country, another country, make sure you study up a little bit on the history before you go there. And this is the reason why Passport Bros are not liked in Colombia. You do not respect the culture. You do not respect the politics. You do not respect the history, the people, or the religion. So Nino5318 makes one last paragraph for me. He says, I've been looking through your videos and I haven't seen any talk about what I wrote in my comment, or maybe I missed them. Yes, he did miss them, and I already went through that. But it would be more good to talk about it, yes, because I found it easy to blame everyone else.
Liar. I have never said that. That is something that no Colombian, especially, I never said that. Who in the world, I want you to show me a clip. Show me what I was saying, that I'm blaming all the problems of Colombia on Passport Bros. Stop killing the women. Stop hurting the children. Stop having sex on the balcony. Why can't you understand that? Stop walking around with freaking prostitutes in the middle of Holy Week. What's wrong with you? And you're telling me, we're blaming all the problems on you? No. You know, do you know that in the past 2 weeks, there has been about 16 bombings in the south part of Colombia? And a lot of them were in the city of Cali. Do you know that? You know no squat. I'm not worried about that. I don't care, bro. For the last time, I don't care. If you want to grab yourself a big booty girl with a big behind, I don't care. Go lock yourself up and just do whatever you want to do in a hotel. None of my business. Stop harassing my people. Stop coming down to my country. And stop being violent towards our women. And stop disrespecting our little kids and our children and our mothers and our churches and everything else. Stop it. You're acting like a bunch of little kids. I'm telling you right now, stop it. Because things will get violent. I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you, things are starting to change. I listen to what my Colombian people say. And I know people from the 4 different corners, all the way as far as the Guajira province, which is the northern tip, deep into the Amazonian territory. All the way from the Pacific, all the way to the eastern side with the Venezuelan border. I'm telling you, people are starting to get angry. They're starting to get tired of you. Look what happened in Mexico. Do you know what happened in Mexico recently? People are starting to get violent because they're tired of gentrification. I'm not blaming stuff on passport bros. There's a lot of extra things that I have issues with. But I'm dealing with you right now up to the whole passport bro situation. I don't care. Stop your nonsense. Stop your lying. Stop your lying. Stop your lying. And if you have an issue with me, make a video or put me on live and I'll tell you straight to your face again. You are a liar. Stop lying. Okay? You will not force us to give you our women so you can abuse them. You will not force us to give over our children. Our knee will not bow down to your American dollar. I'm sorry, but I will not. We are not your whorehouse. We are not your servants, and you will stop abusing my people. I'm telling you this.
Nino also says the so-called passport bros are wrong, but we should not generalize them as if all the problems happening in Colombia come from them. Colombians also have a big part in the responsibility in all of this too. But yes, that will be nice. A video, or may what come of all of this.
Congratulations! You are the first video as a part of that, which I am talking about, and which I will continue to talk about. In a series, in my video series on how I respond to passport bros. Responsibility of what? You're the ones who are flying thousands of miles, and I'm gonna put a video that has my same exact words that I did about 2 years ago.
This, ladies and gentlemen, is the colonialist, arrogant mindset of the foreigner who likes to abuse women. And it shows the sociology and the pathology that they have. Because once they realize they don't get access to the women, all of a sudden it's our fault. No, it is not our fault that you fly thousands of miles to slap our women and put it on camera. It is not our fault that you make hundreds of videos when you could do cultural things about Colombia and telling other men to come here how to get S women instead of real Colombian women. How about you look inside yourselves and ask why you are not a man of value to these black women that you hate so much? Why? Because they have the ability to have more than one option, you get mad, and then you travel thousands of miles to get banned from Brazil or Guatemala like Austin Holloman did? How about instead of hanging around white S workers and brothels, you go to like the Afro-Colombian festival like black American women do and show our culture? But no, you don't want to do that. You want to hang around parquilleras all day. We're mad at the misogyny, not the S workers.
You fly thousands of miles to my country, you delete our women, take away their lives, okay? Like the Canadian who took away the young girl's life. You mess with little kids.
Timothy Allen Livingston is an American citizen that was found last week on Good Thursday with two 12 and 13-year-old girls in a hotel room in Medellin, Colombia. My name is Pamela. I'm a Colombian licensed attorney.
Which my brother just sent me one just the other day, okay? Doing drugs in the street, hurting the locals, not respecting the local culture, not respecting the local festivities, okay? Not respecting the art, not respecting our religion, not respecting anything, okay? It is not our fault. It is your fault because you're flying thousands of miles to our country and causing that issue. It has gotten to the point where certain people, like my brother, okay? I want tourists to come, but my brother, he was no tourist to come. I want people to come. I want families to come. I want you to see the museums. I want you to see the Native Americans. I want you to see the Afro-Colombians. I want you to see the coffee region. I want you to see the flatlands. But my brother, no, he says, I don't want one single tourist coming to my country. And that sentiment is growing. And I'm telling you right now, once it gets to a point of no return, things can get violent. I'm doing this for your sake, not for my sake. I'm doing this for your sake. Calm yourselves down. For the people who are not passport bros, who are not S travelers, okay? Take your little friends and reel them in because I'm telling you, listen, I have friends who live in the city of Medellin, okay? And this friend of mine who works near the area where a lot of these tourists go to, the S tourists, not the regular tourists, because regular tourists go somewhere else, okay? He has businesses. And he told me that he has seen literally posters on the wall. And the poster says, no sea ignorante o si no le meten un chuzo. It says, literally means, don't be ignorant or they're going to stick you with a sharp object. Literally is basically they're threatening the people because it's starting to get bad. Do you remember that story when I was telling you in my last video, which I'm sure you did not see or maybe you skipped through it, where I told you where some other guy said that we don't do nothing for our country, and I told you that during the Duque, when Duque was the president, they were having protests in the street and they were fighting the cops and people were getting shot at, getting killed and everything else.
Like I believe a year and a half ago or 2 years ago when we had the national paro, the national stop, where they basically they even formed a minga. Do you know what a minga is? A minga, it means a collective, a group of different native indigenous groups that they all come together for the same common goal.
In one of those protests, okay, the people from the southern part of Colombia, the Native Americans, they got together and they did something called a minga. All right, and I said this before, but I'm just saying this again for the people who haven't seen it. A minga is basically when a whole bunch of different indigenous tribes get together for a common cause. It could be for, like, you know, helping the poor, for helping the sick, but sometimes it could be for a violent revolution or a violent cause. And you know what happened? They all got together with the AK-47s because this is not 1500s like you think. Okay, they're supposedly that we don't have infrastructure. If they marched their little merry selves going up north, all the way through the southern part of Cali, and they were going to go around Cali, and they were going to head all the way to Medellin, which is the heart of the passport bro land, okay? And the military had to stop them, all right? And do you know how many people were there who were walking together at the same time? 14,000 of them at that time. 14,000. It could have been greater by the time you got to Medellin. Can you imagine what would have happened if a passport bro just wakes up with his 3 women in his apartment and he goes outside and, oh, holy crap. There's a whole lot of different indigenous people out there with Kalashnikovs, with AK-47s, with grenades, even bows and arrows, because they will fight with bows and arrows too, with machetes and everything else. What would you do? I have lived through that, sir. I have lived through that. I lived through the Civil War, especially the 90s and the early 2000s, okay? I know what it's like. You do not want to be at that time. You do not want to be at that time. Again, everybody, thank you very much for coming again to my YouTube channel. This is Ray Condor speaking. If you want to say it, that we say in Spanish, Ray Condor. This is a channel that I have created for people who want to learn more about Colombian culture, who want to travel there, cuisines, and everything else. I am bilingual, and I try to do Spanish-speaking videos, which I will switch to in the future because I've been kind of neglecting my Spanish-speaking crowd. Okay, so I do have something planned in the future. This is about a passport bro that got drugged in Cartagena. I want people to see how the local population are responding to it. There's a couple of digital content creators. DC Born Travel Rob, I think his name is. He likes to record a lot of stuff down there from the English-speaking perspective. You can also look up Your Colombian Guide, which I follow him. He speaks with his he's trying to learn English, and he speaks a little bit broken, but he is understandable. And he does talk about certain things that happen in Cartagena and everything else, talking about from a Colombian mindset. Which is, I do suggest you visit his channel and give him, the best support that you can. Okay. So once again, everybody, thank you very much. Please forgive me. I have been having issues with my microphone, so I'll be getting one soon, and hopefully I can better the sound quality.
So may this be the warning that for any passport bro who wants to come to Colombia to exploit our women and to exploit our children and to commit felonies, you are not welcome, and it's not going to end well for you.